Premiere
September 4 to 6.
8. September 4 to 8.
Gateway.
And then I think some couple of SM cinemas as well, but particularly in SM Manila.
Yes, and please do support our film, and it's a great film.
Mr. Happy, greetings lang po. Welcome.
Thank you po sa
Marunong sila magtagalog.
sa December 4 to 8 po. Punta po kayo lahat. Thank you.
Of course, our actor, kasi si Direk kanina nag-welcome naman si Boo.
Hello everyone, I'm si Boo. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed the food. Sobrang sarap dito. Best Indian food na natikman ko. And of course yung film, I hope you guys get to watch and then invite all of your friends and whoever. I think when you watch the film or when your friends watch the film, I think it will leave them with something that they can take away and help people in their lives with.
Okay, without further ado, we'll start with the Q&A para mas marami tayong mapag-usapan sa ating cast and director. Siguro isa munang tanong on my part, Direk, paano nagsimula ang project na ito?
So this started way back during the pandemic. So I think everybody could, even those that do not have mental illness or probably are not really aware of it, doon talaga parang medyo nas na-emphasize because people were, stuck at home, couldn't do anything. It's the same thing with us, especially we've been doing production since 2018. Na, you don't really have a choice but to just stay inside your house. Everything is very restricted. That's why parang nung time na yon, my sister and I were also dealing with our own demons, and we were suffering some, of course, some questions in mind, like how long is this gonna take, etc. And then, parang kumbaga, we diverted our attention to something else, which was to write this film. So when we originally did this, we wrote an 8-episode script, because this particularly was really done for a limited series. That was our intention, to do a limited series, because I'm currently working on a full-length film called Pag-ani, and we all know naman na medyo mahirap kumuha talaga ng funding for it. Hindi naman siya biro, at saka ang ROI doon, hindi rin naman joke time, diba? Medyo, it's longer than the usual. So sabi namin, gawa muna tayo ng script, gawa muna tayo ng, sulat muna tayo ng script para sa isang limited series, because we tried pitching the full length muna. But yung full length na yun, they liked it, they wanted to turn it into a series. Ako naman, I didn't want to make it into a series. So sabi ko, I figured, why don't we write a limited series, like a different story? So we wrote as the Moth Flies. Originally, dapat Paro-Paro yung name niyan. Nung time na yon, sumikat yung Paro-Paro.
Yeah.
So change namin yung pangalan. Sabi, baka ma-associate doon. Sobrang sikat kasi yung time na yon. Tapos,
Paro-Parong Chi.
ayun, so 8-episode script, and then when we sat down, spoke to Kuya Happy and then Rav about it, sabi ko, gawa tayo ng short film muna, kasi may gamit naman tayo, kompleto gamit, and wala kami ginagawa. So actually, when we started executing it, na parang it's just around our subdivision, karamihan ng scenes. Pero yun, nakakatawa na nairaos, at we really poured all our hearts to it. We made sure na when we were writing the script, very accurate lahat ng kumbaga references to people who suffer from mental illness, or probably even people who aren't aware of it. Kasi when we designed it na talagang when the audience watches it, it's like going inside someone's head na merong who suffers from mental illness. So that's probably how it's a bit different from the usual execution.
Alright, so gusto ko lang makakuha po ng konting backgrounder on our producers or our production people. Paano po kayo nag-evolve? Paano po kayo nag-collaborate? Or paano po kayo na-convince para mag-produce ng Hasta Moth Flies?
So yeah, basically, before I met Gail, me and Kuya Happy was partners already in production. So Kuya Happy is a producer in India as well before. Not in Bollywood, it's a big thing, but mainly in Punjab, in our region. So in India, if you go to India, it's like every region has their own industry. So he's been producing films here, there, and then he came back here, and then we started doing like events, festivals for Indians. So mostly our companies were focused on Indians, on the festivals of Indians. And then one day, Kuya Happy told me that why don't we get into Philippine cinema, because there's a big scope and there are great stories to tell, and of course, yeah. And then during lockdown as well, I met Gail. Actually, we met through a friend, yeah, Luis Santiveros, if you know him. So we met Gail for that, and then she pitched in the Pag-ani, the film Pag-ani, the full-length film. We liked it, but for us, for the newcomers like us producers in the Philippine cinema, it was like starting up. So it was really a big step if we'll go for the Pag-ani. So me and Kuya Happy decided na, I said, let's see, but the budget is too high for now. And then yeah, she told you that she made this film, and then she called me up, and then she said, I have a film and it's on mental illness, and as she said that it was pandemic, everyone is going through something, and then I asked Kuya Happy as well about that, and then that's it. So we already have the film in front of you.
We'll start the Q&A. The first set of questions will come from Jojo Panaliga, writer page.
Direk, I understand kayo din po yung writer? Huh?
Bale po parang I wrote it, concept ko, but it was really arranged by my sister. It's my screenplay by MB Garcia, who's here.
She's there at the back.
She's at the back.
Hello.
So, yeah.
Okay, para lang po magka-idea yung viewers namin, give us the synopsis of the Moth Flies.
Okay, so the synopsis, a really short synopsis would be, it's about a couple who's, in the onset of the film, you'd see that they're seeking therapy because the partner, who is played by Buga Bonada, is about to enter rehabilitation. And I don't wanna, and then the therapist, who is played by the ever so talented Mr. Epi Quizon, as they go through the therapy, Mina Cruz unravels a very dark, eerie information about it.
Thank you. For Boo naman, kanina the producers gave us an idea how they got involved. Ikaw naman.
Yeah. Parang my brother told me na Gail was looking for an actor, specifically.
So during the pandemic kasi sumabog yung Huling El Bimbo na play.
Musical.
Right? It was so big, like the musical, and he was part of that. And during the time na sobrang sikat nung Huling El Bimbo, when I was watching it, particularly hindi ako masyadong fan nung play. Pero, sorry, hindi ako masyadong fan. Pero isa lang yung nag-catch ng attention ko at si Buyon. Sabi ko, Galing Martin to. Sabi ko, alam mo, perfect siya doon sa sinusulat natin, Chi. So, I was talking to my sister na, nung sinusulat namin siya, usually when I write kasi, I already have the actor in mind. Pag sinusulat ko yung isang bagay, or kami dalawa ng kapatid ko, nai-envision na namin kung sino. So sabi ko, perfect si Bu doon. And then, Small World, yung brother niya pala, nakatrabaho ko na sa commercials. Kasi yung brother niya, he owns his own marketing agency. I own my own marketing agency. And then we worked on a particular project during the pandemic. And then I saw dun sa friend requests, sabi ko, bakit kaibigan nito ni RG si Bu. Pagtingin ko, ay magka-apelido sila. So magkapatid pala silang dalawa. So tinawagan ko kagad si RG. Sabi ko, kapatid mo pala si Bu Gabonada. Sabi niya, ganyan. Tapos sabi ko, gusto ko siyang kunin as an actor for this film. Game kaya siya. Pandemic, ang daming restrictions. Pero, ayun.
So naging tulay? May naging tulay. Ano?
Yes. That was, I remember Gail sent me the script. And then, told me like a short background about it. And I think at the time, pandemic, parang as Gail said earlier, parang we're all at home, isolated, and then we're all forced to confront our own demons. I think the material really spoke to me. And then I was like, okay, yeah, game. Let's do it.
What do you think of the advocacy of the film?
I think it's very important, especially in the Philippines. I've been to other countries, and I found out that a lot of things are more accessible to them. As someone who has mental health illness, it's a lot easier for them to seek help. But here in the Philippines, there's stigma. Still stigma. It's kind of strange. There's still stigma about it, and to the accessibility as well. Proper information regarding when you need to seek help and what kind of help you can actually get. Those are all not as good or not ideal. It's there. You can seek help, but then not ideal. And I think one of the main things why I really wanted to explore this film with all of the collaborators was because the advocacy speaks to me, and it's an advocacy that more people could support back.
I see. My last question to our producers: do you plan to bring this to India, or have you already done so?
We plan to, but for now we wanted to focus on Philippines. But yeah, maybe we haven't think about it. We haven't planned about it. But yeah, if like Kuya Happy has friends there, we can someday maybe. But I don't have any plans here because we want to focus to be released in Philippines.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jojo. Sent some questions from Daddy Ann Carvajal of Inquirer.
Hi, good afternoon. For Gail, so why is the title as such?
This is really nice trivia. So when you're diagnosed with particularly schizophrenia, you go through an MRI, and then the results of the brain scan is the shape of a butterfly.
Oh yeah.
So I think the reason behind we thought of, originally nga paru-paro po siya. Change lang po namin kasi nga sobrang sikat ng paru-paro
There's a
doon.
better choice.
And then my mentor then in film, Malaya Passion, when I told him about the title, he was so against it. Sabi niya, come up with like a different name. Paru-paro doesn't suit well. You have to come up with like a better name. So sabi ko, okay. And then we had several different names, and then sabi ko lang, okay, as the Moth Flies, because when you suffer from mental illness, there are what you call episodes. And there are times wherein you're okay, there are times wherein you're not. So when the episode kicks in, it's when
The Moth Flies.
And for Bu, how did you prepare for your role? Did you watch the K-drama? It's okay not to be.
Actually, recently ko lang pala.
After you did this na.
When we did this, I think, as with a lot of the things that I do, I really dive in with the research, especially with this kind of material. So, I watch a lot of YouTube documentaries on mental health illnesses. Hindi ka maubusan ng resources online. I've read some papers also, specifically about schizophrenia, But also the other.
Which particularly moved you or hit you?
There's a documentary on YouTube na they really showed someone who, like the physicality of the person going through a mental health illness, and then when he or she actually has episodes. That really moved me kasi I think it's important. I think when another person sees someone going through an episode, it's much more easier to help that person if you know what is happening. So, visual cues, yung mga habits of people with mental health illness, you can notice it if you're aware. So, ayun. I mean, just research really. I think.
What's your advice to those with relatives or loved ones or family? You learned from your role.
I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think there's a stigma to it. A lot of people think that when you have a mental health illness, you're weak or you're incapable of doing things. Or pag sa Pilipino naman, di ba, sasabihin, okay lang yan, or nagdadrama, or moody lang. Medyo na-minimize kasi yung what actually it is. So, for people who think that they have a loved one, a friend, or relative who is going through a mental health illness, whether undiagnosed or diagnosed, the best thing that these people can do is to study about it, to research, watch resources, watch films, look at art. There's so many talented artists everywhere who have mental health illness. However, it's not a limitation. One thing that I think about mental health illness is, for me, is that it's allowed people to, when you see someone with mental health illness, you recognize that person. Parang kilala mo na in a way. And for me as an artist, I think it's not a detriment at all. It's actually allowed me to empathize more with people and be closer to them. Maybe think about things that would speak more to them. So, ayun, dami sinabi, sorry.
Next question is from Manila Times.
So, I think directly, did you intend to premiere the film first internationally before the Philippines, and how was the experience in Brussels?
Yeah. Well, when we made the short film, as originally planned, the script is an 8-episode script for a limited series, but we figured, in order for us to really get the best, if the material is gonna really resonate with people, let's make a short film. Anyways, if we're gonna pitch this, you have a material that's gonna last for 15 minutes, people could watch it, naman the attention span of people. So it's like the easiest route, like creating like a pitching material. It's easier and all.
Sure.
And I spoke to them. We gotta invest on the short film, and then during our research, we found out nga na you don't get to qualify to like world premiering festivals if we premiere it first in the Philippines. So that's really the main reason. So that's why we initially went to the international scope muna, and then really entered like the short film to numerous film festivals that are mga A-list festivals. And then of course we got like a ton of rejections. And then one day, we got the word from, actually wala nga nag-announce sa akin, may tumatawag sa phone ko. Akala ko baka credit card. So I'm kidding. So it was a foreign number, and I kept canceling it. Kasi sabi ko, bakit may tumatawag foreign number sa akin? So I kept canceling it. And then Mina Cruz, the lead actress, sent me a message. Sabi niya, someone messaged me that we got into Brussels Film Festival. Sabi ko, oh? Because I didn't know. And then And then, when I saw the message na, so they really went ahead and looked for other people to contact me because I kept canceling the call. Tapos, ayun na. So, I was informed about it. Of course, when we found about it, we were like jumping our hearts out. We were crying because it's such a big deal. It's such a big deal to get into an Oscar qualifying festival. Because in the world, there's like 160 plus lang na festivals that could do that. And then after that, when we got there, sobrang kinailangan ay kasuhin kagad yung mga papeles and all, sobrang last minute. But we're very, very thankful to Tito Poc Estrella, so he's one of like the big agents from Netflix here in the Philippines, who helped us out, connected us to the ambassador of Brussels. So they were able to like come up with like to provide us a visa immediately. Kasi ang hirap kumuha ng Schengen. So like overnight, it was an overnight thing. So they were able to come up with like a visa immediately. So when I went to the embassy, pagkatatak nun, pagka-uwi, like my team was the one who like placed all my clothes in yung sa maleta ko, sa my suitcase, and then we drove kagad na to the airport because the ticket, and then of course Kuya Happy like sponsored the ticket and everything, so that someone can represent the film, because we were the only ones also Asia Pacific. We were representing Asia Pacific because it was the only Asian film that got into that festival. Everybody else from Europe or from the United States. So when I went to Brussels,
last year,
sobrang kakaiba yung very surreal yung feeling, because iba pala yung way ng appreciation ng art. Like people would line up and hindi siya katulad dito sa Pilipinas na people don't go to the cinemas anymore right after the pandemic. But doon, grabe yung appreciation nila. Even kids would line up, right, with their parents. Sobrang haba, nangyari sa Flagey yun. And then, sobrang surreal ng experience, because yung appreciation nila talaga doon. They talk about the films right after, and they like really invest money on their filmmakers in Europe. I guess one of the major key moments during the time when I was there, during our screening time, it was such a heartwarming experience, because people of different races, like Europeans, Americans, Filipinos, and all, right after the film, they went to me, and then they said, "Thank you for making this film," and they were crying. Like I was really caught off guard that may mga umiiyak, lumalapit, and people cried when they were watching that. And then they told me na, I thank you for making this film, because Europe also, I mean, they provide proper assistance to people who who has mental illness, but meron pa ring stigma doon. Sabi ko nga, go to the Philippines, mas malala yung stigma. So, that's why we were inspired to make this film. But, talagang yung description nila, I know what you're talking about. Like, when you said na, we made this film so that you could kind of like warp into someone's head who's suffering this particular mental illness, because that's how we really designed it, even the editing, even the sounds. That's how we designed this short film, to really make you feel how it is to have that particular itch that you can't find, right? Because that's always the description of someone who suffers mental illness. Para kang nangangating hindi mo alam kung nasaan siya, right? You don't know where to scratch it. Like, physical ba siya or mental problem siya. So that's what you will experience right after you watch it, you go outside the cinema, that's what you're gonna feel.